So what's up? It's your boy Sean P back again with another edition of Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews. So I'm gonna come with another edition of some quick picks, some albums that I've been meaning to catch up on. I came out in the last few weeks. First, we're gonna take a look at Ransom's new project with DJ Premier, and then we're gonna take a look at the another edition of the Nas 711 Seven Legends series. Let me get that out right. With Big L, Harlem's Finest, the return of Big L. So let's do that. Let's take a look at Reinvention first. Let me pull that up. And real quick, the songs that I liked, Amazing Graces was dope. Hard hitting, hard beats. Ransom brought it lyrically. I think A Cut Above is the hardest track on there. Personally, I really like that one. That's a banger. I would go with Forgiveness, which I like. I like Primo's beat on there. I like the sample on there. And I would go with Survivor's Remorse as my top projects or top songs on the project. So I like 4 out of 10. Other ones were dope. It was really 6 tracks because Rap Radar and Ransom was more of like an interview. Really short album, only 6 cuts. I would say this is more of an EP more than anything. This is more of an EP or an album teaser, if anything. So Ransom brought it lyrically as he usually does. But my criticism, it was just too short. I mean, there was a lot left to be desired. Primo's beats were good. He's been better. Um, I wasn't wowed by Primo's beats on here, but still a dope listen. I would go 6.5 to a 7 max on this one. Just because it should have been more. Like it just should have been more left. There was a lot left to be desired with this. I just think I expected more out of this project. You got to give me like a 10, 15 cut album when you have Ransom, who's arguably the best lyricist in the game, best pure lyricist in the game right now, and Primo, one of the top 5 producers of all time. You got to give me more. So I'm going with 6.5, 7 out of 10. Not much replay value outside of maybe about 3 or 4 songs. So I'm going to go with that. Still solid though. So Big L, Harlem's Finest, Return of the King. Let's go with that. Hold on. Let me switch this up, right? So again, it's part of the Nas 7 Legends series, which has brought a lot of critical acclaim with the Mobb Deep project, the Ghostface project, and also the Raekwon project. Well, I think the Raekwon project is the best out of that. Also mix in Slick Rick out of that. Put out an album that got a little bit of talk earlier this year. And Nas is following this up with a Nas and DJ Premier project. So right off the top, what do I like? You Ain't Got a Chance with Nas and Big L. And man, did Nas smoke this verse. I mean, smoke this. You add that with the Omerta verse and the verses he had on Mobb Deep Infinite. I mean, if you're following up with, Nas and DJ Premier project, you're looking at Nas being the conversation for Artist of the Year because he smoked it on every one of these albums. I hear on the De La Soul project, coming out in 2 weeks. He's got a song with De La Soul and Black Thought on one track. So it's going to be Nas and Black Thought on one song. De La Soul. Just think about that. So Nas delivered this year, man. There's one thing you could say is Nas delivered in 2025. But anyway, I digress from Nas and the Seven Legends series. Check that song out. You Ain't Got a Chance. It's fire. I like Fred Samuel Playground with Method Man. That's a dope joint. Definitely nostalgic feel. Definitely a 9-5 hip hop feel, but both those dudes brought it on that. I like how Method Man brought it. And I would say the absolute gem of this project is 7-Minute Freestyle with Jay-Z. Now, I'm going to go and give some backstory and do a little bit of a reminisce session with this. This freestyle came from the Bobbito and Stretch Armstrong show. I want to say summer of 1995. This was when Jay-Z was still underground. This was pre-Reasonable Doubt. This is pre-Dead Presidents. So Jay-Z was in the In My Lifetime phase. You know what I mean? No, this is when he was doing the In My Lifetime remix, when he was renting cheap boats and going on yacht cruises on the Hudson River. This is way before the big pimping days and what Jay is today. But anyway, this is absolute gem of a freestyle. Jay-Z and Big L brought it on this. If you ask me, Big L maybe got the better of Jay-Z on this one, but I tell you what, this is New York City and rap lore. People have talked about this song for literally 30 years of this freestyle, and I'm glad they got it mastered. I'm glad they got it on streaming, and this takes you back. If you're a real hip hop head and you're from that era, and quick story, I'm 13, 14 years old, and these were the days when you would have cassette players and you would wait till 10 o'clock at night for these mixtape shows to come on, and you'd play hip hop till 2 a.m. Now, before Rat Caviar and the new hit list and all of this was our Rat Caviar back then, which played the absolute latest, the newest singles fresh off of the presses. You know what I mean? Even before they came out, they would actually, this is how record labels did promo back then. They would put the single on a mixtape show right before the single drops or an album drops, and that's the first time you're hearing it, And I remember these mixtape shows, Bobbito and Stretch Armstrong, they are legendary, a legendary mixtape show in New York City. I think they have a Netflix documentary, if I'm not correct. Netflix or HBO Max, but Bobbito and Stretch Armstrong are legendary. Same time you had Funkmaster Flex had a mixtape show. DJ Clue, who was a mixtape fame, him and Doo-Wop had a show for a while. I grew up in the Philly area, so we had Cosmic Kev that had one. Also was Q-Deezy, who now Q-Deezy is a big TV personality in the Philadelphia area. Those were the days, and you would literally have your tape ready at 10 o'clock, ready to record. And I remember going to the Sam Goody at that time, trying to get a box of clean tapes so you could just record all night. And man, it's going to be the first time you hear some of the legendary singles that are iconic today, from Dead Presidents Part 2 to um what was the other, New York State of Mind. All of these, they debuted on these mixtape shows. So this freestyle was a part of hip hop lore. This is hip hop lore on stream, and I'm so glad they got this 7-minute freestyle. I've been looking to get this on streaming services for God knows how long, since Spotify started. So definitely check that out. This freestyle alone makes this album something you need to listen to, you know? We also have a doo-wop freestyle from 1999. It's pretty good, but I've heard better. Another Stretching Bobito freestyle 90, Stretching Bob freestyle 98. That's really good. Those two, even the live at Rock and Will, 1992 with Showbiz. I think that's Showbiz AG, if I'm not correct. That was pretty good too. And then they have some, commentary on Big L and people doing interviews and all that. Overall, I wasn't too impressed. This was what you would expect from a posthumous album. I'll just say that. It was a lot of interviews. It sounded dated, even though some of his punchlines were still hard, and it sounded dated, basic. They tried to liven it up with a couple of features like the Method Man and Nas, which they fit. But this was just an old head album. Like I'll just put it to you like this. This was an old head album. This is, if you're not 40 and over, you're probably not going to identify with this album, but still a decent listen. I would give it about a 6.5 out of 10, just because it was just a bunch of throwback stuff. It was just a bunch of throwback stuff. But the 7-minute freestyle made it all worth the while. Like, I heard the 7-minute freestyle. I played it already like 5 times, and it's a nostalgia play. I'll just say that. Like, it takes you back to the days. It takes you back to the golden era of hip hop. And this was before Big L was the legend that he was, really before Harlem really got put on the map, because this is pre-Cameron. This is pre-Jim Jones. This is pre-Max B. It's impressive, man. Like, so I got a lot of nostalgia out of that one. But overall, I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10. Still solid, but I mean, unless you're not going to identify unless you're like 40 and over, really, or a real lyrics head. But I'll go with that. So, Ransom and DJ Premier Reinvention, I'm going to go with about a 6.5 out of 10. And I'm going to do the same thing with Harlem's Finest, Return of the King, 6.5 out of 10. Little bit left to be desired, I would say, with both of these projects. But I mean, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? I think the Mobb Deep project is the best you could probably get out of posthumous album. And Big L is kind of what you expected. I kind of expected the Mobb Deep to kind of sound like the Big L project, but either way, these are still dope listens. I'd still do that and check these both albums out. So Ransom DJ Premier, 6.5 out of 10. And Harlem's Finest, Return of the King, Big L, I will go with a 6.5 out of 10 as well. Check that out. Both solid listens, mid to solid listens. And I check that out. And by all means, check out 7-minute freestyle. If you're of a certain age, you're going to be in hog heaven. That's all I got to say about that one. All right. So with that, enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and I will get back to you with some new content. There's a lot to talk about this week. The fellas are going to be coming back. My homie Reese, Ransom, be it from BLG Bootleg Gang, they're going to be coming back. We got a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about this week. So stay tuned for that later on in the week. All right. Peace.